Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have a senior catcher from the Woodland Hawks, Kylie Bulinski. And if that name sounds quite familiar, her brother played on the football team. I don't know which one's better at what sport or sports in general. I'll let that be the decision for other people. But Kylie, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Excited.
It's one of those things where to be able to have, and I've had now a bunch of track players on here. I've obviously have had baseball players, basketball, football, etc. It's good to have different sports on because everybody has a different perspective of their sport and can kind of give their own knowledge of the sport that they're playing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Softball is definitely different from football, soccer, and all that.
Much different. And again, it's great to be able to have you on. Before we start talking about obviously yourself and the team that you play for, the Woodland Hawks, I kind of want to go into the game of softball itself. How did it find you?
So I was very, very young. I played soccer, and then my dad actually introduced me to softball because my mom played. They both actually played slow pitch together. And so it's been always like my dad has always been in like the sports. He works at a sporting goods store.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been introduced to sports. My brother, it's been in the family. And I've always played volleyball and basketball throughout my life, but softball it was my favorite thing, was the one thing that I was actually better at than the other sports. And I've been playing travel ball since I was like 8 or 9. And I stuck with it, young kid, big dreams, basically. That was me. Never thought where I would be in the position where I am today, playing in college, Division I program, great coach, and having in a great high school. But like being able to play in a sport where I have so much love for the game, it's something that like if I'm having a bad day, I go to it just to like get through my day. I find it enjoyable. It's not like that job that I have to go to and I just hate it. It's something that I truly, truly love to do. And I can't see myself not playing. And like you always have those thoughts like in injury that'll never allow me to play again. And like I know things like that can happen, but it's very hard for me to like be like, what happens if this is my last game? And that's kind of like the mental set I'm in when I play, is like COVID, the whole season canceled. What if I can ever play again? And like that is my motivation to keep going, because I might never have that game. And I know when I get older, when college, then I'll never play again. And I'll always look back like I wish I had that one last game or another tournament or something like that.
Well, I wouldn't say you never will play again because there's always leagues to play on even after,
Yeah.
and who knows what could happen. If you can, continue on growing like you have and keep progressing, and I highly doubt that you've peaked. Your peak is it's far from that. I feel like you never know what door could open once your college career is over. Because if I remember right, isn't there a team? Is it the Breakheads? Is it?
Great Cats, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're out of Stratford. I possibly was going to play with them this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on their roster, I believe, but I'm still sticking with my travel team this year.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure after college I can go back play with them, because I never want it to be over. I really don't.
Never. And especially too, I mean, I told your brother this. I call you Miss Tanks because you just hit bombs. I'm telling you. And there was a game, it may have been the NVO championship game. Maybe it was at Naugatuck. And I saw video of your dad going crazy when you hit the bomb. And I forgot, it may have been Kyle Brennan who took the video, but that video was so funny. But you know what? You mentioned your dad, and that kind of is a full picture of kind of like you just said, the mental approach and having support of your family, your brother, your mom, your dad, everybody. That was pretty cool. It really was.
No, I honestly look back on that video and like all my Twitter feeds from that moment, and I like get teary-eyed because I would not be in the position I am today without my family. The support of going to travel tournaments, hours away on the weekends, the hotels, the money they put into this program, and just me being able to do what I love. Like I wouldn't be able to do without them. with their motivation. Like that is honestly what keeps me going, is
Mm.
knowing that I have that support system and seeing that video. I swear that video haunts him. Everyone knows that video. But like I honestly watched that video and I'll probably watch it tonight thinking about it.
Mhm.
I cried one night. I was like that moment, like I wasn't really in the moment because just not in it when that happened. Like I just don't remember it.
Mhm.
But watching that video was like, wow, that's a true proud dad moment right there.
It's one, like you just said, could be played for years and years and years. And like you just said, you cried, but it was tears of joy. It wasn't sadness. It was tears
Yeah.
of joy.
Mhm.
That's so cool. That's again moments like that. That's make sports so beautiful. And missing it because of COVID a couple years ago, and to be able to have it back now for a second consecutive season, hopefully for many more consecutive seasons. We
Yeah.
need moments like that. I kind of want to talk about a little bit as far as your growth as a softball player. I mean, the catching position, is that a position that you just gravitated to at an early age, or did it come later in your career?
So I've always been a catcher.
Hmm.
In T-ball, my parents wouldn't let me catch because they were both my coaches. But ever since I was like in young 10U, I've always caught. I never really honestly played any other position. I've always had that secondary of a first baseman. But I caught 6 games, 3 days, 6 games a week and 3 games a day. But I gradually got better, arm got stronger. But I couldn't see myself in another position. And I know like I probably might play first in college, maybe a little outfield and catching, a little everything. But it's always good to like know like I can play other positions because obviously I'm left-handed. I can't really play the infield as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've been catching for a very long time. Very long time.
If I wasn't, and I told my friends this when I was in college when I played, I was like, if I wasn't a left-handed pitcher, I would have wanted to be a catcher, because I feel
Mhm.
like a catcher is obviously pitcher. It's almost like in football. Who touches the ball the most? The center and the quarterback. Well, in
Yeah.
baseball, it's the pitcher and the catcher. And I feel like as a catcher, and that's what makes catchers such great managers, no matter if it's in softball or in baseball. Because you're always thinking. It's like a chess game.
Yeah.
You're trying to read the hitters. You're looking at his or her feet. You're looking at the bat path. You're looking at, oh, he or she just fouled off that fastball or the rise ball. Okay, maybe we should go to something else. That stuff
Yeah.
is really, it's really cool to be able to think about that.
And that's why I think I love the position so much because I'm so involved and it allows me to like pay attention to literally like everything. I'm watching, I'm knowing what the picture's gonna throw. Like today, I'm watching a batter where they're standing and know whether to put it in or out, or if they foul, throw that change up, put a rise if they're hot, like short, and all things like that.
Hmm.
But it like in that leadership of like being loud, like it really has made me the person who I am, like the leadership that I have like put out on my team and having that voice and the communication with everyone. So like I think that's why I love the position so much is just because I'm always involved. I'm involved in every play, making certain calls, things like that.
Was there a certain point, either during the summer or during the high school season up until this point now, where maybe you weren't having the best season at the plate, and your defense and you being the stalwart behind the plate, the wall back there was really kind of helping get you through that tough time, or vice versa, maybe not doing well behind the plate, but the bat was kind of keeping your confidence up? I'm basically asking as far as the confidence side, because in softball and baseball, it's the same thing. You fail, more than you will succeed, just because that's how the game is.
Yeah, exactly. I would say last year at the beginning of the season, I was struggling with my bat. This year, a little bit in scrimmages.
Hmm.
But being like catching and not like and being in every play and moving past that, like I will say I like strike out or something or have a bad play. I kind of make it up in the infield and behind the plate, knowing what to throw. And I think that helps me as a batter because not going from at batting,
Hmm.
say I do bad, I'm always in the next play. And if I was in the infield, like that would be my thought the whole time is I just messed up. But like I don't have to think about that because I'm too busy thinking about the pitches, the plays,
Hmm.
and catching. So I in my mind, I'm kind of dropping that and thinking, okay, how can I make this up in the field with the pitchers and help the pitcher? and things like that. So I learned, it helps me because I kind of drop the topic about my bad hitting and pick
Mhm.
it up in the field, and like communication with the pitchers and things like that.
I think it's good too that you're able to kind of separate both, because as a young player, no matter, it even happens with the pros, they kind of can't separate their bad performance at the plate and then they end up doing bad when they play defense. I see it in football. I see it in especially basketball. We just had basketball season. I can't tell you how many players that I've seen where they're not getting their shot in, and then defensively they're committing these stupid fouls. And it's
Yeah.
not that they're intentionally doing it; they're frustrated because their shot's not going in. And I think for you to be able to separate that and say, okay, I'm not hitting well. Okay, you know what? I'll just make it up behind the plate and make sure I don't make my pitcher, be the sufferer just because I'm not doing well at the plate. You know what I mean?
And have like the doubt in me. And like I don't want to carry that much in the infield because they kind of rely off of my energy, off of like how I'm playing. And so I need to be upbeat just as much as them
Mhm.
and like be on. Because if I'm not on, they might not be on, or if they're not on, I might not be on. It's kind of like a battery. We all kind of like connect in some way. But yeah, I've definitely I played plenty of games in my lifetime, and I think I found that mental point where I need to not let one at bat of 3 at bats of a game say
Mhm.
define the rest of my game. And I think I've done a very good job on separating that for
Mhm.
the most.
Talk to me about the growth of this Woodland Hawks team, because I mentioned to you before we started this about your brother's team, and I'm sure your brother gets annoyed because I always bring it up. But from his freshman year to his senior year, 1-9, 5-5, and then back-to-back playoff seasons. There, what that teams did, I'm never going to forget it. As long as I'm in Connecticut, I'll keep bringing it up. For you young ladies last year, number one seed, make it all the way to the semifinal in Class M. I know that game did not go your way. You lost, I think it was North Branford, if I recall.
Yeah.
But just talk to me about the growth of this team, because I feel like a lot of people kind of just look at, oh, they're 18-0, 19-0, or whatever, but they don't look into the ingredients of how they got to this point. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So my freshman year, we had a great group of girls. We actually went to Florida to play, which was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember that year so much, but we weren't as good as we are now. But we had a good. I think we had like 4 or 5 seniors. They graduated,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were good, but we were still in working progress because we had, I think we had 6 freshmen starting that year, which was crazy to think about. But now, like moving on, we worked, we got a lot better, a lot of off-season work, and then sophomore year got canceled. But we knew, like we had that idea, like we're going to be a great team in the next 2-3 years with our 4 graduating seniors who graduated last year. And we last year, our sophomore year that got canceled, we didn't have any graduating seniors. So we knew that we had another year coming back. We would be very good.
Mm-hmm.
So sophomore year got canceled. So then junior year comes around, and we all had that mindset like this year could end, but we have that good team where we could win, and we could win big and go all the way. So a lot of like the off season growth has come from like other travel practices, because there's only so much you can do in a high school season because you can't really work with girls out of season. And we all played, I want to say majority of the girls, like our starters, played on travel softball teams. Like it was their number one sport. And 2 of our graduating seniors last year are actually playing college this year. So like we knew they were good. We all worked very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Great coach. We had Luddy, we had our assistant coach Sam, who's no longer with us, and we have Coach Pete, who was our assistant coach junior year and is now was our volunteer coach junior year, now is our assistant coach this year. And Coach Pete actually has coached 5 of our girls since we were 10 years old. So he knows us. We know how he works. It's another that battery,
Mm-hmm.
getting along very well. So he has like taught us from the very beginning, and seeing the growth like with other girls on the team, the things that things that he did
Mm-hmm.
with us, it really shows like how much he's a great coach. Same as Luddy. Luddy, great coach. She played in college. She knows exactly how it is. Excellent. And then that was a tough year. We lost in semis, but we knew like we would still have great team. So then this year comes around, we have a lot of incoming freshmen and a good solid say 5 or 6 of them played travel softball as well. They are very good. Very good. So we like knew like we were going to have a decent season this year. Hopefully we still are, but we like like certain girls who are playing travel softball and play all year round. And this year we have 5 graduating seniors who 3 of us are playing in college. I think one is walking on and the other one is doing academic things. So we have a really solid, good group core this year. And it helps that we all have played with each other for like 8 to 6 years. So we like kind of know each other. We know our ways. And even Sammy, she is probably going to play in college. She has schools looking at her in communication. So we just have pure talent, and there's only going up from there. Because we work in practice, things like that. Like every single day, 2.5 hours practice. Well, 6 out of the 7 days of the week, CIAC rules. But we work for 2.5 hours straight, hitting new drills, everything. And Coach Letty puts it all together, Coach Pete, and it's a really good practice where everyone is just getting better.
I think it helps too that when you think about a team that is trying to recapture what was a very successful season last year, you need to be able to hope to be able to return back players who you can kind of prime example. If you're, no matter if it's high school, college, or pro, if you got your quarterback coming back, that's a pretty good start because you don't want to be starting from scratch. I think for the Hawks to have you, the catcher, and then obviously Sammy being that 1-2 punch right there, that is huge because you've got the stalwart, you behind the plate. You got Sammy, won't even try to say the last name because I won't get it right. You got hers, the ace. You know that you can throw her, and it's basically a guaranteed win, if not pretty freaking close to it. That has to be able to make the team feel so confident to be able to return. And I know there's other players too. I'm just mentioning you two in particular, but to have those two big time players coming back, that's massive.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the underclassmen, like we have a great group of juniors, sophomores as well. I like to think that they rely on us a lot and like look up to us. Like I like to think that the incoming freshmen look up to me as like that leader, captain kind of idea. And I hope that they rely a lot on me and Sammy and Riley, especially because like we are basically running the game. Any runs that are let up is on me and the pitcher. So I hope that they have that confidence in us enough to know, like, okay, like Coach Letty actually said today, she goes, Riley pitched pitch a shutout in a year, and everyone else's job, including us, is to hit just as well as Riley's pitching. And I just hope that they see that we're doing our jobs on the field just as much as they are, and our bats, like it's all just one connection kind of.
No, I think that totally makes sense. I mean, whenever the pitcher's doing well, you want to try to reciprocate that as far as at the plate. So that way it's a little bit less stress on, the pitcher that's in the circle at that time. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I get that. So as far as obviously expectations, I mean, I'd be stupid to assume. So what are expectations? Obviously, win the NVL and then get back to finish business, getting to that final, and then winning that state championship. For you in particular, as far as the work that you put into so far, I know you guys have only played one game thus far. What would you say were the biggest things that you tried to work on going into this season?
Going into the season, we are trying to keep our minds focused on the main goal and continuing what we had last year into this year and actually going all the way, because we all know that we have the program and the players and the coaches to do that. So we're taking it one game at a time. Can't look too far ahead, obviously. Kind of take one day at a time, one practice at a time. But we believe, and we're working on that NVL championship first, and then making it all the way in states. That's the goal. That's what our heads mindsets are all at. But like I said, you got to take it one game at a time because you never know. We might not have that final game, but everything leading up to it might put us in that championship. But we're keeping our heads down on that and really focusing on one game at a time.
Now, whenever I have a catcher on my podcast, and I've had a few, I always like to ask as far as calling pitches, calling their game, because I know in college baseball, I don't know about softball as much at the college level. I know in baseball, there's not that many catchers that call their own game, especially now because a new thing this year, they have earpieces. So now they don't need to be getting the signals. It's all basically, through a walkie-talkie, and then it goes right there. It takes away the thinking aspect. I hate that. I like catchers who can think and, do you call your own pitches or is that being called in the dugout?
I do call my own game.
Nice.
I do. Last year I called all pitches. I was told I was doing a very good job. I like to think I did a good job, but I mean, I definitely see like room for improvement, but it takes a lot of thinking because every time before I get up, before I come onto the field, I ask our manager, okay, what batters are up? I figure out, okay, what did they do last inning? Because they write everything down, everything. We have great managers. So I like to think where I pitched the ball or where I called pitches, what was also working for our pitcher. And then I think the most important thing is looking at the feet in the box and how far up they are in the box, where their hands are. I also peek at signs from other coaches as well. But yeah, so I mean, it took a lot of learning. My freshman year, I don't think I called pitches, but in travel, like I call pitches. But it took a lot of figuring out what works best because some of our pitchers on our high school team don't like to throw inside so much because they're going to pull the ball. So that I can't call this one pitch, even though this batter is close to the plate and like jam and things like that. But definitely, I started to figure some things out, and a lot goes with Coach Pete, our assistant coach. He's helped me because when I played travel, he always called pitches. So I have his like mindset of like, okay, what should I call here? Keep the ball up, drops, things like that. So he has definitely helped me tremendously in calling pitches. But I think Coach Letty and Coach Pete both like rely on me now. Like she does a fine job. Like she figured it out. And they really do trust me. And I'm glad our pitchers do too, because that's most important.
Kylie, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast. Before I let you go, I just want to ask you as far as, you're one of the seniors who's having an opportunity to be able to play college softball once your high school career, and hopefully it's not ending for a long time and it goes as long as possible. But next fall, you'll be on a campus, URI. When you committed, I mean, was there other schools or was it like, nope, this is the one, don't care, I'm going here. Where's the pen and paper? Sign goodbye.
Okay. So I had my high school season, great season, lots of schools looking at me. I always had that idea. I wanted to go to URI. I wanted to go to URI. I love the campus. My parents actually have like a camper. We have a campground at URI 20 minutes away from campus. I wanted to be far away from home, but not too far where they can come watch. So when I actually remember the date, it was July 11th is when I made my verbal. And like that day, I knew that is the school I wanted to go to, a new program, new coach coming in, exactly what I want. Loved the campus. I had a couple other schools, a couple like Division 2, Division 3, but I sat down with my travel coach and I was like, this is where I want to go. And my travel coach actually played softball, college softball with my new coach, college coach. So they had that connection. And I knew that this is where I wanted to go from the start. And everything literally worked out perfectly. Couldn't ask for a better way. Couldn't ask for a better coach. Love her. She's going to really change this program around.
That's awesome to hear. And hopefully, because now you got to match your brother. He's got a ring. He's got the ring now.
He does have a ring.
He does. I mean, what they did for, I love what Anna Marie was able to do in such a short time. And, I wish nothing as far as Mel Rooney, the best of luck in his next journey. But I feel like that, with Kroos there, which he's an NVL guy. I'm sure you know that. Obviously, I think your brother may have another one or two to add to that before he's done playing football because that team, yeah. And, you got to catch up to him now. It's up to you.
I'm hoping to have one at the end of this season, hopefully a couple in college. You never know.
I will say,
Big
if you get the one your senior year, that does count against the college. So then you'd be tied
be tied.
because
I should make some bets with him. Put some little money on it at the end.
hey, you know what? That's legal. Do it. Go right ahead. Do what you
I
gotta do.
should.
And
Have
I
a little
also and also too, as far as you know, if he was to pitch to you, would you take him yard?
Tyler?
Yeah.
100%. That ball is still going. I could see it right now. I actually, now that you say that, that might have to be something we do.
Oh, and if I want to see video of that because that's gonna
I'll
be
get proof.
hilarious.
I will get proof. I don't even think if he even tried to throw baseball or softball or whatever, he'd probably throw shoulder out, honestly.
Which is so strange because you know what's funny now that we're talking about this. I know we're going off topic, but who cares? When I see uh football players throw, when they're at a baseball field, a major league baseball field, and they throw out the first pitch, they throw so weird. And I'm like,
I feel like that's
why?
how he would throw. He would definitely throw. He would throw out his arm, throw weird. I don't think he's thrown a baseball in forever.
But throwing a football, I'm not saying it's the same as a baseball, but it's the same motion. So I'm like, how can you not throw a baseball?
I think he would try and throw a 90-mile-per-hour fastball past me and then throw out his arm, be in pain, complain about it all. And it just wouldn't end good.
But see, softball pitching is I've tried that just for fun when I was in college when we were just joking around in the bullpen because bullpen guys we're a little odd. We like to do we're basically crazy, especially with the left-handers. But we would joke and just do that when our coach wasn't looking, and it's not as easy as anybody. If anybody thinks it's easy, it's not because we tried, and I think my ball is still rolling in the ground because it went like this. It did this. I give so much like kudos to Sammy and everybody who can throw that as accurate as they do, especially as hard as she does.
Yeah. No, I've tried to throw. I tried to pitch a softball and it doesn't end very well. And I end up like hitting in the dirt, hitting Sammy in the face. We'll be in practice sometime. She'll be warming up. I'm like, I have all my equipment on, my mask, everything. I'm like, give me the ball. I'm gonna pitch to you. Right in the ground, hits her in the face.
Oh no.
Very chaotic, I will say. I was like, well, you know what? You throw it in the dirt for me. I'll throw it in the dirt for you.
Now, real quick as well, do you watch college softball? Like, do you have a favorite team as well or no?
I do. I mean, you gotta love Oklahoma. They're crazy. Jocelyn Allo
Yeah.
just broke the record of home runs.
Yeah. I had a
Love
feeling
them.
I thought you would say UCLA, but Oklahoma too, because Oklahoma is a very talented team. Thought they were going to lose to James Madison last year. I
Me
thought
too.
so.
James Madison came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, they were a non-power 5 school just out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I mean, were you kind of nervous that second game after they lost to James Madison the first time? Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I was like, this school, like nobody's ever heard of them. And now they're beating Oklahoma #1 in the country. Like,
Hey, it happened in March Madness.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it happens. That's what makes college sports so great.
Yeah,
It
really,
happens.
it does. Makes them so interesting.
It really does. But Kylie, it's great to be able to have you on the podcast. I wish you nothing but the best of luck this season. Hopefully, I'll be able to broadcast your championship games for NFHS, and hopefully, I will be able to see you guys there. And it would be an honor to be able to broadcast the Woodland Hawks for a championship game. That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Hopefully.
And definitely no bias right here. No bias at all, right? None.
No,
But best of
no.
luck, Kylie. Rooting for you and the
Awesome.
rest of the team.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. MRCT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Audrey, the Find Them All. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.